Hello and welcome to my channel. On today's video, I'll be taking you through the process of achieving this look. If this is your first time, please do subscribe, turn on the notification bell to help the algorithm. So I started off by cleaning my model's face, and after that I went into face prep. I really didn't want to do a lot for this particular look, because sometimes you start filming and the inspiration is just not there to go in and do too much. So after serum, I applied a moisturizer. I'm using the Embryolisse moisturizer. After that, I went into applying primer. You know that while applying primer, I avoid the under eye section, because this for me doesn't just work out. Applying primer under your eyes makes your makeup to crease and sometimes makes it to break and so difficult to control. After that, I went into mattifying her T-zone just to control sweat. I wasn't really going for a very matte finish, so I controlled the amount of sweat control mattifying primer that I used. Then I went into the Ivy Beauty foundation, and while I applied that, I noticed that the undertone was too strong for her skin color. So I went into a different foundation shade. I think that is V Beauty, just to cool it down a little before I started blending. Normally, I would mix these two on my foundation tray and test it before I start applying, but sometimes it happens like this, and I keep these parts of the videos there. I could crop them out, but I keep them there so that you see the realities of doing makeup. Sometimes you start and then things do not go as smoothly as you would have loved for them to go. So it's important to know that it's by practice that you become perfect, and that even the best makeup artists still struggle with some things every now and then. So that is why I kept that part of the video there and did not just cut it out. While blending my foundation, I'm using a beauty blender and it's moist, so I just tap it in. You note that this video is sped up, so I tap it in much more gently than it seems here, and make sure that this product just goes into the skin and the skin just absorbs it in a much more better way. Even at this point, honestly, I was still not satisfied with the foundation matching, but of course I'm experienced in this, so I can always control it later. Now I just set the foundation using a fixed spray to be able to make the makeup just a little bit much more durable, and I went into highlighting using the Avo Cosmetics concealer. So I highlighted under her eyes and her chin, the bridge of her nose and a bit of her forehead, and I'm blending out the concealer gently to ensure that everything mixes, all the products embrace each other, and there are no harsh lines, and everything just seems much more seamless, because it is from this stage of the skin work that you start creating the seamless and the creamy finish. So after I finished highlighting, I now went into contouring. I used an Avo Cosmetics foundation, a darker shade, to contour, and I usually don't do cream contour, but on this particular look, I decided to try out the cream contour. And you see that I'm taking my time. I'm doing it really gently, because you don't want it to stand out too much, and especially around her nose, and you also want her to get a snatched nose. So that is what I'm trying to achieve here by doing it so gently. As gently as I apply it, it's going to be the same. It's in a similar manner I'm going to blend it out. And I also contour around her hairline, the upper part of her forehead, just so that I reduce the amount of light that falls on those areas. You know that I felt like the foundation shade was a bit lighter than what I would normally have loved to have. So I can control much of this using the contouring. So it is my opportunity to control using the contouring, and that was what I was really trying to do here. So I was focusing on those areas that are normally not supposed to be too highlighted, and just trying to reverse the effect with contouring. After I was done blending, I now go into setting. I used the powder palette, the La Vida powder palette, just to set, and you notice that I'm taking little product one step at a time and pushing it into the skin. I don't go in with too much product all at once, because if you do that, you're not going to get the setting effect that you're looking for. There's a difference between setting and baking, and normally I do this quite slowly, but as I said, the video is sped up, so you wouldn't really see how gently I do it. And I just tap the product into her skin, so I'm gently pushing it using the powder brush. Yes, I'm pushing it using the powder brush into her skin, and doing that progressively, step after step. I do not seek to achieve the setting effect all at once. I do it patiently over and over again till I get a satisfactory effect. So I just went ahead and highlighted and set all the parts that I highlighted with a powder shade that is 2 times lighter than her skin tone, just as I used the foundation that was 2 times lighter than her skin tone. After that, I went into setting the contoured areas, and I'm also using a powder shade that is 2 times darker than her skin tone to contour the parts which I contoured already using a cream contour. So you notice that the area around her tear duct, that is the area that really gives the contouring effect, so I focus a lot on it. So, and apart from the nose, the size of the nose, I now go below her jawline. I also contour, and as well as the areas around her hairline, I go ahead and contour these areas as well. During this process of setting the parts that you already used liquid products or cream products to highlight and contour, just helps to make your makeup more durable. And then I went into applying blush. When you apply blush in the right way, it has a way of adding warmth to your face, and it just makes I think that blush just makes your makeup really much more appealing and catchy. So I went into applying blush. I apply it on her cheeks, and I apply a bit on the tip of her nose, just to add a bit of warmth, as I said. Sometimes I even go around the forehead a little, just to make sure that I'm adding a bit of warmth, and I'm just helping myself with sculpting her face, bringing out those cheeks. Blush helps to do that a lot. So after that, I don't joke with my skin work, so I go in and set the entire face using a powder shade that matches her skin. So that is what I'm doing now. All of these steps just help to make your makeup last a lot longer, and they help to fight against makeup breaking, foundation breaking later on. After I'm done with that, I went into the Mirac powder in the shade Ginger to bake her face. As you can see, I'm really concentrating on the areas under her eyes, and I just bake those areas using the setting powder and the beauty blender. Sometimes you could use a puff sponge, or I don't know, but a beauty blender works for me. As long as you're going to be accurate and it does the job, you go ahead and use it. Nothing stops you from using it. So yeah, that is what I do to bake the face. Really don't pay too much attention in baking the other parts of the face. As you can see, I did the brows and the eyes off camera, and I'm going to drop a video on how I created that eye look and how I got those brows. So if you're interested in this video, you should stay tuned to my channel and watch out for these videos. And I went into doing the lips, so I wanted to just do predominantly nude lip, and so I started by the inner section using a nude shade of lip stain from Hager and Esther. I've forgotten the number, but I'll leave it in the description box. And I use Becharm Ageless as well, so I just put those two and made the model smudge the lips. After that, I had to line the lips using a brown shade of lip stain, and I had her smudge the lips time and time again. So after having her smudge the lips, I just go ahead and line, because sometimes while smudging the lip stain goes a bit out of the boundaries of her lips, and I don't want that. So you just want to make your work cleaner and neat in a way. So I just cleaned the excess lip stain that might have gone out to the corner sides of her mouth. So after I'm done with that, I take out the excess baking powder that I still had on her face. I take it out gently and I make sure that everything excess on her face is cleaned up, and then I can go into spraying it. While spraying, you have to cover your eyeshadow because it might break if you do not cover it. So I now went in to sculpt the face much more using the Tehila palette, blush palette. Yes, so you say that this just adds a bit more definition to her face, and that is why I have to do it again almost at the end of my video. And I also went into a Tehila palette to add a highlighter to the bridge of her nose, the high points of her face really. Yes, and that is it. The only other thing I did after that was add gloss to her lips, and voila, that was it for the makeup process, and the results were quite satisfactory. So this is what we got. I hope that this video was helpful to you. I hope that you like it. Stay tuned for more videos and subscribe. Thank you.